Yeah, definitely it was, and we weren't really conscious of doing 1 in a row, 2 in a row, 3 in a row. We're just kind of looking. Kilkenny had this culture of you win your game, you look forward again. You don't, it was constantly looking forward, and because we were winning a lot of the games, we didn't really need to look back to improve. We just kind of kept going. We knew ourselves we could improve, but because we were winning, we were getting great confidence. There was a great competition within the panel, so Brian was able to pick and choose lads in and keep lads on their toes, and it was just a roller coaster of a time. There was games there were just unbelievable games. At the start, it was Cork, then Limerick came to the fore, then Waterford came, then at the tail end Tipperary started to come as well. So there was massive rivalries existing in between that, and we just had an unbelievable time. And you think, I remember a great game against Cork in the semi-final in 08, the final in 08 again Waterford, which was near perfection really. Limerick coming in 07, when we were kind of expecting Waterford to come, and it was just unreal. And then it was just kind of typified at the end with Tipperary coming in those monumental games in 09, 010 and 11.
And, this is a question you've probably been asked 101 times, but I'm going to ask it again anyway. How did you maintain that level of hunger throughout that period? Because a lot of teams suffer from second year syndrome. Even look at Leicester City in the soccer here, for example. They got a good result against City there about a month ago. But, just looking at it, how did you maintain that level of hunger?
Yeah, there was a couple of things I was keen, and obviously Brian was very central to that and managing the whole situation, and he had this thing of success makes you soft, and we weren't going to become soft, but he also had behind that an unbelievable ambitious raw hunger of players. And behind that, again, you had massive players trying to get into the squad, and he was able to tap that in, and we could see the players that were there that wanted to come in, and we knew that there was a great team there, and more than likely we'd be thereabouts in an All-Ireland, and you wanted to be part of it. You want to be playing, and he was able to tap that in. And if lads could come from nowhere to be playing in an All-Ireland final, and there was like 30 lads there, and anyone could really play it. There was so many examples of that, and he was just able to keep everyone on their toes. But we had a huge personal ambition in us to be the best, and we had the mantra that if you didn't win an All-Ireland in a year, it was a waste of a year. And we would win an All-Ireland, we'd celebrate as hard as anyone, but come January we were back again, and you would have seen that like in Walsh Cup games, lads going out and playing as if it was an All-Ireland final, and that culture that was created by Brian being central to it just exists for all those number of years.
Talk to us then about, I suppose, the early part of this decade. You've had that rivalry with Tipperary, obviously, and it's still ongoing, of course, and things like that. But just looking at it, I think in 2011, obviously you won 2009 and 2010. Tip got the better of you, but in 2011, after that league final against Dublin, a lot of people kind of wrote you off during that season, but you came up trumps. That must have been an important turning point in winning the next couple of All-Irelands.
Yeah, it did, because we probably would have questioned ourselves a bit, and especially after that league final, we would have been looking, going, God, is this the end, or is this the start of the decline? And then to come back and to turn it around and to win an All-Ireland and to beat Tip, who beat us the year before, and all the talk was Tip had won it in 010, had won the under 21, they were going to take over, and just to repel that and say, you know what, lads, we aren't finished. There's an awful lot left more in us. It was massive for our confidence and things like that. And 2011 was just the ultimate kind of team gritting out a huge performance. And I remember Colin Fennelly blocking Lara Corbett down with his head that day, and that was kind of the mantra that was that day. And they took him off, and he just wanted to get back on, and everyone was that psyche. Eddie Brennan did the job on Pádraig Maher that day. Tommy, every ball he got hit over to Henry, who just cleaned up all over the place. So it was, everyone just really, really just got their man and squeezed the life out of Tipperary that day, and it was just an ultimate team performance.
That same year, I remember being down at the county finals, and this could be a little touchy subject, I suppose, but look, we'll talk about the money. The first day I remember it being a miserable day, a draw, and what kind of summed up how bad a day it was Henry went to take a free, obviously, remember, and he missed the ball completely. The ball just flew away on him. You done the business in the replay. I know there's your own little personal story there, but talk to us about that.
Well, the first day, as you say, it was probably one of the worst conditions I've ever played, and to even hit the ball 40 yards that day was a pretty good achievement, and it was just real dogfight. And after the draw, they got a free, which was dubious enough, but these things happen, and all the talk was, the Village are after losing their chance. Ballyhale won't be as bad the next day, and but we came back, we regrouped that night, and we said, there's more in us, lads. This isn't going to be just about our first day. And we came back the second day, and we won it. And obviously in the middle of it, I got sent off, and myself and Colin clashed, and our heads clashed, and I got sent off, and rightly so. It's not something I'm proud of. I wish I didn't do it, but I suppose the most important thing is that we won, and like the lads had it on it. The key moment on the day, I think, when the examiners next day was when Jackie Tyrrell got sent off. The Village really found a new life and drove on to win. And it was like a bit stick over in that, like. But I suppose the most important thing was James Stephens winning. Getting sent off, thanks be to God, didn't affect us. It seemed to affect more Ballyhale, the fact that Colin was sent off. He was so important to him, but it's just one of those things that happens in sport. When you play on the edge physically, sometimes you step over it, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it would kill me to this day to think if I cost James Stephens a county final.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but rightly or wrongly, you still got to collect the cup, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and that's probably, I think the rule is you're not allowed meant to, but it'd be a brave man to try to stop me going up the steps that day. And I suppose I don't know the real correct letter of the law, but I went up anyway. I was just told to go up and get it anyway, and I was the captain. I'm
leaving out kind of the two defeats in 08 and 09 against the same opposition. That obviously played a huge factor in trying to right that wrong. And as you said, after the first day, when there was a draw, people would have thought, that was James Stephens' chance come. That was comprehensive, though. That was an 8-point win, like.
Oh, it was huge, massive. Like, we beat Ballyhale fair and square that day, and born out of that was those defeats in 08 and 09, which really hurt us. And especially the 09 one, we thought we had Ballyhale's number that day. And you see it with teams when they lose to a certain team, there comes a day where they just put their foot down and say not today, and that was our day in the replay in 011. We'd lost to Ballyhale, and deservedly so. They beat us fair and square those days, but it's nice and it's very sweet when you come back and beat a team after they beat you. And that was 2011, but 08 and 09, they were hard to take, because we could have won them, and the ones you look back and they kind of gnaw at you a bit.
And then moving on to 2012, those question marks kind of about Kilkenny rose again after that defeat to Galway in Leinster final. And for large spells of the drawn All-Ireland final, it looked like you were in trouble as well. Again, question marks asked and over ye, and answered emphatically. Yeah,
it was, and again, it was pretty kind of indicative of 2011, where we had a bad league final. 2012 we had an horrendous Leinster final, and one of the worst days in a Kilkenny jersey, and it was just one of those days where we were very bad and Galway were excellent, and for long periods that 12 All-Ireland, it wasn't looking good, and Henry, in fairness, put his hand up that day, and really, and that was the beauty of Kilkenny. There was always leaders stepping up, and Henry did that day, and Brian had this great ability of, in a replay, being able to look at it and making the right changes, and he's done it so many times, and that day he made the changes, and they worked out for us. Obviously Wally was probably the main one, really, but it was great to be able to come back, and after Galway beating us, turn it around, and it was another huge victory for us.
Subconsciously, what we're kind of noticing here is a trend. Whenever the question marks were asked, or put over, they were answered, as you mentioned a moment ago there. And 2013 was another time. Now, apparently Brian and the lads don't look outside their own dressing room for, I suppose, motivation, but surely that was an element that was attached to what was going on there in order to motivate you, that people were saying maybe Kilkenny are finished, or does that come into it? You can be brutally honest now, of course, because
well, Brian would have a mantra that what happens in the four walls, that's all that matters. The management team, the players, the backroom team, and people can say what they like out there, and people have come out and said things. Sherlock Nana has said things, people have said things, pundits have written us off, so we don't really do it to shut this lad up or shut that. We do that to just show we can do it, and this is what we're about. And it would make us angry at times when you've done so much and been so successful, and next thing lads are writing you off, and it's not even writing you off, because there comes a time when you are finished, but saying that we're over the edge and things like that, and you're just like, Jesus, it's a game of hurling, you have physicality in it. But 2013 was really a roller coaster year, and I suppose we lost to Cork in the All-Ireland quarter final, which was hugely No, not as in we would look at that as probably a waste of a year. But I'll always remember 2013 for the Tipperary game in Nolan Park. Every time I think of 13, I think, right, we lost that year, and then I have a bit of a smile on my face of the fact that we beat that game.
Yeah, great atmosphere.
It was one of the best games I've ever been to be involved with. It was just absolutely amazing. It was just, I didn't sleep that night after. I couldn't, and my mind was racing. I was actually still sweating with the heat in Kilkenny that day. It took me about 5 days to get over that game, to actually right, I'm back 100% now. It was emotional, it was sweaty, it was intense, it was, and Tipperary contributed every much as we did. I've never seen a Kilkenny crowd as anxious, as animated, and it was like an All-Ireland, like it really was, and it was one of those great occasions, one of probably the top 2 games I can look back and say, God, I'm delighted I was a part of that. Like, that was just something really nice about it.